Hello, hi, a very good afternoon. Thank you for taking the time to attend today's ADSelfService Plus workshop. I am Sharda, your presenter for today. I am a product expert in ADSelfService Plus from the marketing team of ManageEngine. And I hope my voice is audible and the display is well and clear. If not, please let me know immediately in the chat box provided. I hope my voice is audible and the display is well and clear. If not, please let me know immediately in the chat box provided. All right, so like I said previously, today we're going to be talking about a very interesting session. We are going to be talking about how to provide Active Directory based single sign-on and also synchronize Active Directory passwords. So ADSelfService Plus does not only take care of your Active Directory password management, but also helps you manage passwords across multiple on-premises and cloud applications. So these are two important aspects of providing one identity to users in your organization, and that is password synchronization and single sign-on. So before we jump into today's session, like previously, I would like to give you the access to the workshop setup. You can make use of the workshop setup as and when you use, during the session itself, as I go through today's session. And I'm sure you already know the login credentials, if not repeating it once again for you. You can make use of the logon ADSelfService Plus authentication. The user credential is user and password is workshop with WS capital. So you can make use of the workshop setup as we go through today's presentation to explore the applications that we support for single sign-on and password synchronization with ADSelfService Plus. All right, so if you're new to today's session and if you missed the previous workshops, no worries. All you have to do is drop in your mail ID in the chat box or the questions tab allocated to you, and I will ensure that the previous session videos reach you. So a quick brief into what we're going to be talking about today before I jump into today's session. So we are going to see how to automatically link your Active Directory and Office 365 accounts. And this will enable users in your organization to go through a seamless password synchronization, which is the Active Directory password being synchronized with the user's Office 365 account. So we are talking about real-time Active Directory password synchronization between your Office 365 account and Active Directory, and how you can keep track of all the changes that's happening in your environment, once again with the help of the dedicated built-in reports. And moving on to the second segment of today, we're going to see how you can give access to users, how you can give or provide a one-click seamless access to users to over 100 cloud applications with the help of single sign-on. So we're going to see how to work with single sign-on for G Suite and Office 365 once again. And I'm going to walk you through the Office 365 configuration today. So Office 365 single sign-on is one of the most widely used applications with respect to ADSelfService Plus. And the configuration is not very similar to the other applications. The Office 365 configuration requires a certain amount of PowerShell scripting, which is pretty simple, but I'm going to show you how to work with that. I'm going to walk you through the Office 365 configuration today. And we're going to see how to make use of the Active Directory credentials and authenticate user identity to log in and access these applications. At the same time, how you can control or restrict access or provide conditional access to applications, to single sign-on applications enabled for users based on OUs and groups present in your Active Directory. So we're going to be starting the session talking about password synchronization and then move forward to the single sign-on part of it. So what you see on your screens is the ADSelfService Plus admin portal. I'm going to log in as an administrator. A quick brief to all of you who are new to today's session or joining us only today. I have created self-service policies in ADSelfService Plus. This is typically a reflection of the organizational unit that I've created for the workshop purpose. So what I've done is try to sort users into OUs and groups based on their organizational role. And that's about it. I've created policies in SelfService Plus based on organizational units present in my Active Directory. So you can go and add a couple of policies right here, restrict self-service features, and you will find your way around it. So the segment that we are going to be dealing with today is password synchronization and single sign-on under self-service. I'm going to quickly show you all the applications that we support password synchronization and single sign-on for. That's quite a big list of applications which are pre-configured. But the exciting part is that you can also configure single sign-on for any custom SAML application with ADSelfService Plus, any internal application right here in this particular segment. Single sign-on for any SAML based custom application that you work in your organization, you can create the application right here and go about working with single sign-on. Provide users one-click access to applications. So if you have any questions regarding the configuration, you can pop them up in the questions tab during the session. I will take time to answer them. If not, the last 10 minutes is dedicated for a question answer session, and I will take all your questions then. So starting with password synchronization for Office 365, I am going to choose the password synchronizer module. The domain that I'm working with is SohoCorp ADMGR Plus on Microsoft.com. All right, I hope I've given the spelling right. The display name is this. Quickly keying in all the required details. The display name is going to be O365 Sync. I've given the username. Quickly authenticating the password. And yes, I'm going to leave this to all policies. We are going to give password synchronization with Office 365 for users belonging to all the policies, and I'm going to save this particular setup. Yes, my system configuration has been added successfully. Trust me when I say password synchronization with ADSelfService Plus is going to take only a couple of minutes to configure as long as you have all the information available. And believe me when I say this right now, we are done. This is all you need to do to configure password synchronization between your Office 365 account and your Active Directory. So let's get started and explore how it works for the end user. I am going to log in as Adam and redirect myself to the application tab. And here, Office 365 Password Sync is available under the list of applications for the user, Adam. So under the Change Password tab, I am going to go about with the password change operation right now. So you can see that Active Directory has been made mandatory, which simply means that any changes has to be reflected to your Active Directory password as well. So this is the sole purpose of password synchronization, giving users one identity across multiple on-premises and cloud applications in order to ease the process of logging in and accessing these applications. So I'm going to go about and change Adam's password. You can see a slider as I type the new password. And when I change my password, there you go. I have a message which says my Active Directory password has been changed successfully. Also, the good news is my Office 365, which is my Azure password, has also been changed. So this simply means that the password synchronization action for the user Adam was successful. But what I'm going to do now is try and log in into Adam's Office 365 account with the credentials that we just changed. So what I'm going to do now is try and log in as Adam into this particular domain. Yes, the domain has been detected successfully. I am going to key in my Active Directory password and see if I have access to my Office 365 account. Yes, I do. Adam has successfully logged into his account with his with his Active Directory credentials, which is his Windows logon credentials. So not only is the password change operation taking place, we are managing both Active Directory and Office 365 passwords from one single console for each and every user. And this is possible for more than 10 applications, both on-premises and cloud applications. So we are talking about password management for both on-premises and cloud applications, password changes, password reset, and thereby we are not going to face password expiry for both on-premises and cloud applications as well as your Active Directory, because users are going to take care of their own self-service password management. And this is going to happen in every single one of your organization. Yes, I am talking about making use of the Active Directory credentials to gain access to multiple on-premises and cloud applications, and that is possible with ADSelfService Plus. So what I'm going to do before going through a reset operation is quickly show you the password sync enabled applications. So starting from G Suite, Office 365, Oracle, Salesforce, we have a couple of applications listed on your screen. We also support Active Directory password synchronization between multiple domains. So yes, we are talking about providing users one identity, one password across multiple on-premises and cloud applications. We are also talking about empowering users to password self-service, not only for their Active Directory, but for their Office 365, their G Suite, their Salesforce account, and many other on-premises applications as well. So this is how ADSelfService Plus is going to make things simple for you. And I'm sure we are all moving fast towards the cloud application era. In an average organization, there are between 25 to 91 cloud applications that are being adopted. And this is not just numbers that I'm quoting. These are numbers that have come out with a recent survey. So when we're talking about accessing 25 to 91 applications on an everyday basis, we're also talking about managing all the passwords. So this is where password synchronization comes in handy, because you can empower users to take care of their own on-premises and cloud application passwords that ADSelfService Plus supports. You can also control or provide conditional access to password synchronization for users belonging to certain organizational units or groups purely based on Active Directory credentials. All right, so I hope my voice is audible and the display is well and clear. If you have any discrepancy with respect to the network, pardon me. If you have any problem with respect to the network or the voice or the video, please drop in a message immediately so I can take the right action. All right, thank you so much. So if you noticed, I just went through a password, forgot your password link, a password reset operation. And I'm redirected to the security question answer. I made little changes to the pre-existing setup. What I did was set up security question answers mandatory for all the users. So I'm going to go about and verify my identity right here and continue. And you can see that I'm redirected to the reset password page. And once again, I have a choice to reset my Office 365 account password as well, because password synchronization has been enabled for this particular user. But if I wish to do it only for my Active Directory, I can always deselect Office 365. But you can see that Active Directory has been marked mandatory for this particular user. So if you're wondering how to go through a password reset process only for the Office 365 account without having to change the Active Directory password, that is also possible. So when I spoke about password management for on-premises and cloud applications, we do not force password synchronization. We give you the deciding authority to decide which user's password has to be synchronized with their Active Directory. So under policy configuration, we're working with Adam. So I'm going to the policy, advanced policy setting for HR. And under policy password synchronization, you can see there's an option which allows users to deselect Active Directory during password reset or unlock operations. Also, you can force password synchronization across all the linked accounts, ensuring all the users have one password across all the applications, or give them the choice to deselect Active Directory or choose the account for which they would like to perform password synchronization for. All right, so I've updated this particular policy for user belonging to HR. Now I'm going to go through a password reset operation once again to show you that this time Adam can go about and change his Office 365 account password alone. Once again, keying in my security answers. Looks like I've gone wrong there. I'm going to do that again. And yes, I am redirected to the reset password page, as you can see, and this time I can choose to change my Office 365 password alone. So what I'm going to do is key in a password and enter the CAPTCHA to reset my Office 365 account password. So yes, my Azure Office 365 password has been reset successfully. So this simply means that I can reset my Office 365 password, my Salesforce password, my G Suite password, and all the other supported on-premises and cloud passwords can be reset from one single portal, which is ADSelfService Plus. So this is another major advantage of password synchronization, enabling password synchronization for users in your organization. So if I'm sensing the right question from you, I'm sure your question is, why would I want users to have one single password across multiple applications? Why would I want my user's identity to be compromised if I have one single password across multiple applications which can be compromised? The password that can be hacked. So when I started the session, I said that we are aiming at simplifying the login process, simplifying password management, but we also make sure that we do not compromise on security. So I'm going to quickly head to this particular segment to give you an idea of what I'm hinting at. You can enforce a granular password policy across multiple on-premises and cloud applications from ADSelfService Plus. You can strengthen users' passwords by enforcing a strong granular password policy from ADSelfService Plus. I am talking about password policies that the native Windows Active Directory environment does not support. I am talking about password policies that have not been updated in the native Windows environment for the past 18 plus years. I am talking about more complex password policy rules like the dictionary rule, the restricted pattern rule, and many other password complexity rules like the history rule, consecutive characters from the username, and many more. So if you're interested about ensuring security in your organization, if you're interested to uh, have a strong password policy game in your organization, then this is exactly the feature that you're looking for. And we are going to be talking in detail about the password policy enforcer in our upcoming session. So jumping back to talking about Active Directory and cloud applications password management, let's move on and see how single sign-on works. So we spoke about how to synchronize Active Directory passwords and provide a one-click, how to automatically synchronize your Active Directory passwords with Office 365, and how to go about with password changes which reflect real time between multiple on-premises and cloud applications that ADSelfService Plus supports. And I'm sure that you already have an idea of where to get in detailed reports about users' actions. So under the audit reports, you can have a look at the user attempt audit and also filter this based on NTML as well as SAML single sign-on. You can also get the manual login details. You can also audit the password changes right here. So reset password right here and get an idea about which password has been reset, filter it based on self-served or automatic. And just to show you, I'm going to apply a filter and show you that no, there haven't been any automated password resets, whereas there was a self-service password reset right here. And under change password, I'm going to do the same thing. I am going to show the failure rate, and we see that there wasn't any failures, whereas there were 2 successful attempts made today at different times for Office 365 password change. So yes, the audit reports both for password changes and resets as well as the user attempt for login is going to give you an in detail complete insight into what is going on in your environment, not only your Active Directory environment, but your cloud applications and on-premises applications as well. So this is about the password synchronization part of it. Now let's quickly jump and focus on the single sign-on part of it. So what I've done is configure single sign-on for 2 applications, G Suite and Office 365. I pre-configured it so that I can walk you through Office 365 configuration as well in the stipulated time. So I'm going to quickly run through the G Suite configuration. It's extremely simple. G Suite is one of the easiest applications to configure single sign-on for. So what we have to do is choose a module, which is single sign-on. The domain name that I'm working with is evergrowingtech.com. I just manually keyed in the details. The display name is G Suite SSO, and I'm going to leave the policy to all policies. I'm going to give access to all policies and click on this particular segment, which is the SAML SSO details. So simultaneously, I'm going to access my admin account, my G Suite admin account, and redirect myself to the admin console. So while I am going about with this, I have a quick question to all of you. I asked this question just out of curiosity. So how many cloud applications do you or users in your organization have to make use of in a single day? Please answer this question for me because I would like to get an idea about how many cloud applications that you would require to log into every single day. All right, so moving on, under the Google Admin Console, I am going to go and click on Security and redirect myself to setting up single sign-on right here. You can see that I've already enabled single sign-on with third-party identity provider. So all I need to do is key in the sign-in URL, which is right here, copy it and paste it there. The sign out URL, copy this and paste it there. And yes, the change password URL as well. Copy the logout URL, paste it, and copy the login URL as well. All right, so I think I've done that right. And also download the SSO certificate from right here and replace the certificate. And upload. So once the setting is saved and once the certificate is uploaded, I also save the settings once again to ensure that it's done. So settings are automatically saved once you upload the certificate. You also have to go through save settings just to ensure that you've done it right. So that is all you need to do with respect to configuring single sign-on for G Suite. This is all you need to do. Trust me, this is literally a 5-minute process. All you need is a couple of details and which domain you're working with. Update it right here in the ADSelfService Plus portal as well. And now let us attempt to log in as one of the users. So when I redirect myself to the Applications tab, I have G Suite available right here. I'm going to click to log in. My email address is detected. Next. And you can see that I have a one-click seamless access to my G Suite account. I am talking about providing a one-click seamless access from one single portal for more than 100 cloud applications and any SAML supported application, custom application that you work with in your organization internally, that can be customized as well. You can add the custom application and configure single sign-on for those applications as well. Isn't this interesting? Doesn't this make things extremely simple for us? So like I said previously, when users are made to log in with, say, 4 to 5 applications on an everyday basis, that simply means that 4 to 5 different passwords, 4 to 5 different logins every single day. And we're also talking about the complexities that arise when a user forgets their password. So yes, this basically simplifies the account login process. What I'm going to do now is log out of ADSelfService Plus as the user and try and directly access my Google account. So keying in my login, I am redirected to the ADSelfService Plus page, and you can see that I'm not logged in anywhere. And once I make use of my Windows logon credentials, I have a one-click seamless access to my to my G Suite account. I am talking about making use of one single set of credentials, making use of your Active Directory credentials as an authentication source to log in and access Salesforce, to access G Suite, to access Zendesk, ServiceNow, Workday, Box, and many other applications that ADSelfService Plus supports. So I'm going to jump back and quickly show you the best part of working with ADSelfService Plus. We support more than 100 applications. So we obviously do not want to give access to over 100 applications, or say, let's stick to a realistic number, 25 applications to all the users in your organization. You obviously don't want every user to access every single application listed on your screen right now. So in that case, what you can do is customize access to applications based on organizational units and groups present in the Active Directory. So I am going to give Office 365 configuration access only for users belonging to admin. Update. I am going to give G Suite access for users belonging to, let's just say, HR. Update. And I am going to give access to password synchronization for the Zoho Corp ID for all policies. So all the users have the option of going through a password synchronization process when it comes to their Office 365 account belonging to this particular domain. All right, so what I'm going to do is, or what I just did is restrict access to users, restrict access to applications, restrict or control access to applications based on organizational units and groups present in my Active Directory. Let's quickly cross-verify that by logging in as one of these users. I'm going to log in as Sharada right now. So let's see which application Sharada has access to. So as an administrator, Sharda has access to Office 365 single sign-on as well as Office 365 password synchronization. So you can see the difference evidently right here. Two applications, same applications, but two different functionalities. For Office 365 synchronization, there isn't a one-click login button available as we hover through the icon. Whereas for the single sign-on enabled application, you have a one-click click to login access available. All right. So I am going to sign out of Sharda and try to pick another user. Let's go with Andy. Let's see which application Andy has access to. Andy has not even enrolled with ADSelfService Plus, so I'm going to do that now. I chose my security question answers. I've enrolled with ADSelfService Plus. And yes, under the Applications tab, Andy has only the password synchronization option enabled. Simply because the users belonging to finance do not belong to the self-service policy, HR, and admin. All right, let's look at one last user from HR, which is Adam. Let's log in as Adam. So when I navigate to the Applications tab, Adam has access to G Suite as well as Office 365 synchronization, whereas he does not have access to Office 365 single sign-on. So this is what I meant to say when I said you can give conditional access or you can provide access-based, policy-based access control to users belonging to organizational units and groups present in the Active Directory. All right, so we spoke about how to automatically link Active Directory and Office 365 account for password synchronization. We also spoke about real-time password changes that happen between AD and Office 365 and how you as an administrator can keep track of all the changes with the help of the built-in reports. We in fact went through a password change and password reset operation and saw that we could make use of that particular password to log into Adam's Office 365 account. We also saw how to allow users to automatically log into cloud applications without manually entering the credentials every single time. Yes, we did that. And we did that for G Suite, and I'm going to quickly walk you through the Office 365 configuration as well. We also saw how users can make use of the Active Directory identities, that Active Directory credentials, the Windows logon credentials as an authentication source to log in and access these cloud applications, and how you as an administrator can control access to each of these applications based on OUs and groups present in the Active Directory. You can restrict or give conditional access to applications based on OUs and groups present in your Active Directory. All right, so the thing that I wanted to highlight here is that every single application works differently. So we said that we support single sign-on for more than 100 cloud applications. The configuration from the ADSelfService Plus end is pretty much the same. I'm quickly going to jump to the help document to show you what I am intending to mean. The configuration for ADSelfService Plus is pretty much the same. You need to fill out the prerequisite, which is head to the single sign-on page and go about with getting these details. So these details that you require depends on each and every application. So for Office 365, you require the login, logout, and the SSO certificate. So this is your prerequisite. And then comes the service provider configuration steps. So these steps are something that you need to make a keynote of, because this is what varies from each and every application. Coming back to the identity provider configuration steps, once again, standard format. You need to choose the module, enter the domain name, give a description if you want to, and restrict or give conditional access based on policies and save. So the concern here is the service provider, obviously. So for G Suite, we saw how we were able to go through a very simple password single sign-on operation by jumping to the security tab. We navigated to setting up single sign-on and then enabled third-party single sign-on. So that was pretty straightforward. That was very simple. We have a dedicated help document for each and every application. But since the Office 365 configuration is a little different from all the other applications, I have chosen this particular application. I'm going to walk you through the configuration. So to start with, you need to have admin access to your PowerShell right here. So I've already done that. And what I would advise is to quickly copy paste all the listed commands from this particular help document and customize it based on your account. So I'm going to quickly show you how that's going to work for you. So yes, I am going to work with Notepad right now. So you can see that I've taken all the commands, all my PowerShell scripts right here. But at the same time, I've customized it based on the domains and the certificates that I am working with. So please pay attention to this particular segment. I am working with this particular domain, and this is my admin login. So it is right here. And these are the other commands. The domain that I'm working with is also highlighted. The URL, which is your URL and URI, is going to be your login URL from the ADSelfService Plus SSO details. The logout URL is going to be your ADSelfService Plus logout URL. So quickly keying in the right details. If you see, I have ADSelfService Plus -workshop and my port name available right here. Thereby, I know I have the right configuration. Also, talking about the certificate file is usually available in this format. Like the certificate file, when downloaded, does not open like this, but you need to remove all the spaces and all the additional information available to make it look like this. I know it looks a little messy, but this is required. PowerShell does not accept spaces when you're giving in certificates. So this is a little step that you need to notice. So I also have my certificate file uploaded right here. I made a note of it right here. And also the other commands that I require to complete the process. So I'm going to go through a stepwise instruction for you. When you're starting with going about configuring Office 365 for ADSelfService Plus, you start with this particular command, which is get credential. And once this is done, you have a pop-up requesting you for your username and password, which is your admin username and password, your Office 365 account's admin username and password. And once the verification is successful, you connect to the service and then you get the msol domain command. So once you give this particular command, which is get-msol domain, you have the domains that you're working with listed right here, and the authentication is either managed or federated. So if in case it is federated, or if you're working with a new single sign-on setup you would like to configure for another account, it is automatically going to be federated, which simply means that there is a pre-existing single sign-on configuration in a layman word. So in that case, what you do is run the ninth step in your help document, which is to reconfigure or update the single sign-on settings. So you have the command or script right here. So that is exactly what I've done. You can see that I've given the domain Think Today Technologies and also changed the status, the authentication status from federated to managed. So once I give the get msol domain command once again, it's moved to managed. So the reason why I pre-configured this is because Office 365 configuration takes a couple of minutes to complete, sometimes even about an hour. So the configuration takes some time to reflect, and that is exactly why I pre-configure this so I can show you if the configuration is already reflected. So you can see that Think Today Technology status has moved to managed. So this means that you're good to go. You can start working with the command. So we are going to be starting again with command 4, step 4 in your help document. So we give the command right here, domain, which is thinktodaytechnologies.com. I am going to quickly give in the login and logout URLs and also upload my certificate right here, which is what I've done. If you can see it, my login URL and my certificate is right here. So once I am done with all this, once I'm done with uploading all the details, I just need to give one command, which is right here, to confirm or complete the configuration. So once I give that command, the details are automatically populated. You can see it right here. Brand name, the issuer, the log of URL. I have the log on URL listed right here, the signing certificate as well. So once this is done, you know you're good to go. But just to quickly recheck, you can give this particular command again to check the status of your domain. So once I give the get msol domain command, you see that the status has been moved to federated. And this simply means that your configuration is complete. Your single sign-on domain has been moved to the authentication federated. Federated single sign-on is what it stands for. And like I said, Office 365 configuration takes a couple of minutes to update or reflect. So you might not get started working with single sign-on immediately, but what I'm going to do is quickly try to see if my Office 365 configuration has worked or has reflected. You can give it an hour's time, about an hour's time. So I am clicking on Think Today Technologies and no, it's not done yet. I have not successfully logged in. But yes, you will be able to log in a couple of minutes if you wait for a couple of minutes. And yes, you can also try to do it when you're going through directly logging in with your account. If you are redirected to the ADSelfService Plus page, you get an idea that yes, the configuration is in progress. So that's what I do to quickly check if I'm good to go. So Sharda at thinktodaytechnologies.com. I'm going to check if it's working. So yes, keying it once again. Sharda at thinktodaytechnologies.com, clicking on next. So yes, I have been redirected to the ADSelfService Plus page, which means that the login or the issuer URL has been updated. So it's going to take a couple of more minutes to confirm or give us a single sign-on access. So yes, that is the reason why I wanted to walk through the Office 365 configuration. It is one of the most requested single sign-on application. So I thought, why not do it as part of the series? So please go back and try Office 365 configuration for users in your account as well, using ADSelfService Plus, and see if it works for you. See if you have any trouble setting it up after giving in the PowerShell commands. And yes, with that said, I've come to the end of today's session. We spoke about how to take care of Active Directory and cloud applications password management. Talking about the security feature, once again, we support a granular password policy where you can enforce a granular password policy across your Active Directory and multiple on-premises and cloud applications, which simply means that users in your organization are going to have a more secure, more strong password. Passwords are not, passwords can be compromised. Passwords are not impossible to hack, but you can always delay the time a hacker or a security threat that happens to a user identity. You can always delay the time, and the more time you buy from the hacker, the more time you have, the more response time you have to take the necessary actions to avoid a network breach or security breach. So we support the granular password policy for multiple applications. And talking about single sign-on, we're also talking about giving one-click access to more than 100 cloud applications. So the natural question or the natural concern is that how are you going to manage, how are you going to handle a situation where one single password is compromised, which is the Active Directory domain password, and the user has access to multiple applications? So this can be managed with the help of the very famous and most friendly two-factor authentication. ADSelfService Plus supports two-factor authentication during logon, and you can enable Duo Security, RSA Secure ID, Radius Authentication, the Google Authenticator, or the basic verification code, or sent via email or SMS. And once that is done, you have an additional layer of security, which is always better. So you don't have to enable single sign-on to have two-factor authentication. Two-factor authentication is advised even otherwise, in order to maintain the security during logon, during Windows logon, as well as logging in using ADSelfService Plus, using a one single portal to access multiple applications. So yes, we are trying to simplify the password management process. We are trying to empower users to password self-service. We are also trying to simplify uh, access to applications by providing one identity to users, but at the same time, we do not compromise on security. We have a check on security, and that is done using ADSelfService Plus. So yes, now I'm going to take time to answer all your questions. I have come to the end of today's session. I am done with Active Directory, cloud applications, and on-premises applications password management. You can look forward to granular password policy and password expiry notification in the upcoming sessions, which is next week. Thank you so much for taking time away from your busy schedule to be part of this particular session. It was an immense pleasure to be the host for today, to be your presenter for today. I really hope you had a good session, and I hope that you're ready to get started deploying password synchronization and single sign-on using ADSelfService Plus for users in your organization. Thank you once again for being a wonderful audience. I am signing off for today. This is Sharada, product expert in ADSelfService Plus from the marketing team of ManageEngine, signing off for today. Have a great day ahead.